WWE is preparing for the Hell in a Cell event on June 5th, but the show is also dealing with storylines that may not end up leading to anything at the pay-per-view. Tonight, Bobby Lashley stepped inside a steel cage for another fight against the giant Omos. These two have been going at it for the better part of 2 months, so this could be the epic conclusion to their feud. Let's take a look at everything that happened during tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and Streamer.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old, by the Phenom, Michael Bullock, fresh off another one of our legendary Raw chats. Unfortunately, good old MF Michael Fletcher will not be with us tonight. Heck, he's not going to be with us for a while because he has big-time work commitments beyond his control. So MF is going to be, unfortunately, he's going to be on a bit of a leave, unfortunately. But in due time, he will be back with us. So for the time being, myself and Bullock, we're gonna do our best. And these shows are not the same without MF. So MF, we're gonna do it justice for you, brother. That's all there is to say on that. So, all right. And we're back to at least for this week, it's back to a normal edition of Ridiculously Raw. There's no Ranger roundups, no Celtic chats. Those will be coming back soon. Well, later this week they'll be back, but tonight we're gonna do Monday Night Raw, the Raw review, and then I'll do my Tony's take. And with that, let's dive right on in. Monday Night Raw was live tonight from one of the most iconic and legendary professional wrestling venues of all time. And I told Bullock this numerous times during our Raw chat tonight. The legendary Norfolk Scope, Norfolk, Virginia. Back in the days of the NWA and WCW in the late 80s and in the 90s. They put on some memorable shows, including Starrcade 88, when the Nature Boy Ric Flair and Lex Luger battled in the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. The big gold belt, don't you know? Relive that on Peacock. And let me tell you, that was a hell of a match. Go out of your way to see it if you haven't. So with that being said, let's dive on into this edition of Monday Night Raw. And we started it off with the steel cage match. Bobby Lashley squaring off with Omos. There was some chicanery before the bout, but then eventually order was restored. 2 referees as always. Eddie Orango handled the in-ring duties, while the favorite referee of myself and Michael Bullock, Mr. Danilo Anfibio, and his pompadour, he handled the outside refereeing duties. Winner of the match in 7.5 minutes, Bobby Lashley. Omos threw Bobby Lashley into the cage so hard that the wall of the cage broke. It was almost basically like that Universal title match with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns at the Greatest Royal Rumble. It kind of reminded me of that. And at the end, Lashley had the wherewithal to step out. Danilo Anfibio made it official to ring it out to Mike Rome that Bobby Lashley was the winner of the match. So with that, I'm going to give it 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. This was a much better setting for a showdown between these two than a traditional match. Excuse me. Omos is still limited in the ring, so making the fight more about punches and throws than holds and counters help mask his limits. Lashley made him look good by selling all of his offense well. Not the first time we've seen a finish like this in a cage match, but it was done well enough to feel appropriate. Much better than their previous encounters. I know a lot of people are hoping it's the end of this feud. It's not going to be. Because next week on Monday Night Raw, they announced that Bobby Lashley was going to have some sort of a challenge for Omos and MVP. So we'll have to wait until next Monday's Raw in Evansville, Indiana to find that out. But I will give this 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star for the effort. Michael Bullock, I mean, we saw this. We saw a finish like that. Like I said, greatest Royal Rumble, 2018, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, the Universal title. We all remember how that ended in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, yep, I was gonna say it was kind of like that here tonight, but Bobby Lashley wins the match, overcoming all the odds, not just the big guy, the constant interference from not one but two pests, an MVP and Cedric Alexander. And even with all those odds, the Almighty still found a way to win.
Oh, yeah. I mean, despite all those odds, I mean, with Cedric Alexander and, of course, MVP, I mean, basically, interfering in the match. I mean, come on, Florio. I mean, what is the purpose of a steel cage?
To keep the combatants in and to keep any outside interference out.
Yeah, obviously, MVP, Florio didn't get the memo because he somehow stuck the cane in there to nail him. But you know what MVP will say? Hey, there are no rules, so that means what I did was 100% legal. So, but yeah, I mean, 2.5 stars is my rating on this match. I mean, yeah, obviously this is not the end of this feud. I mean, this was a good match here, but like you said, this is not the end of the feud. We got the Almighty Challenge next week for Omos and MVP, so who knows what that's going to bring. So I'll say this was probably the best match of this entire feud. So 2.5 stars for me. So Florio, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on indeed. Bear with me here. Just got to get my thing back up and running here. Oh man. That's very odd. All right. Oh, okay. Here we go. All right. Then we had. Oh yeah. This is something we are most certainly going to bypass here. It was originally announced as Mustafa Ali versus the United States Heavyweight Champion Theory. Theory said the match needs a guest referee. Asia Smith out, The Miz as a referee back in. And then Ali steps out and Mustafa Ali now faces Veer Mahaan. And Veer Mahaan wins the match in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. But wait, there was a bright spot. The Mysterios are back in the fold. First time in over a month. But Ray and Dominic, we're back. So, but man, not really much to say there. I mean, the pop for the Mysterios was very nice, and we should have known Ali would have to take a few losses when he returned. At least he is putting over somebody who was supposed to be unstoppable and not some low-level jobber. So there's nothing left to say except what's happening to Ali, in the opinion of myself and Michael Bullock, is it's nothing short of a damn burial job. Simple as that.
Exactly. It's a damn burial job. And to me, I mean, this guy deserves way better than this.
Amen.
I mean, and I'm sorry to say this to you, Florio, and I told you this, and I'm telling this to the people right now. I think he's going to get Future and Never eventually,
Sure looks like
and
it.
it's a damn shame because if you're gonna bury him like this, then what's the point of using it? What's the point of having him on the roster? I
Good
mean,
question.
him getting Future and Ever, I think would be the best thing, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, AEW could use him, Impact Wrestling could use him, Ring of Honor. I mean, so many different great organizations would give this man the better treatment than what WWE is giving him right now. I mean, look at superstars that got released by WWE. Look at how they're doing in other wrestling companies. I mean,
First
take
name that
Ruby
comes.
Soho. Take Ruby Soho for example. In WWE, she
Absolutely.
got lost in the damn shuffle. In AEW, she's getting treated way better.
She's now in the semifinals of the Women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament.
Exactly.
I'll
That's
do
the
you one
perfect.
better. I'll do you one better. What about the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo?
Oh yeah, she was a nobody there, and now look at her.
She's the best women's wrestler in the world. And look what she's done in Impact Wrestling. Look how much of a megastar they've made her in the last 2-3 years.
If WWE would have done their damn homework and actually put these women or even men over, they wouldn't be in other wrestling companies right now. But nope, Vinnie Mac and his Bucktooth Beaver buddy Kevin Dunn and
Love or
Bruce
love.
Pritchard they always find a way to screw the pooch on this one. And oh boy, I got some things to say when we talk about a certain thing later on.
Oh yeah. Yep. The big news that came out, and we'll address that in the main event. But that was that was a dud. There's no question about it. So this was not a dud, however. A preview of the big unification match coming up this Friday night on SmackDown in Grand Rapids, Michigan. One half of RK Bro, Riddle, versus Jimmy Uso. Winner of the match, 10 minutes and 50 seconds. Riddle wins the match, 10 minutes and 50 seconds. Michael Bullock, Riddle won. You know what that means. Hit me with it.
Bro.
Sounds so lifelike.
It certainly does. You know what? I'm going to give it 3 stars. I would give it 3.25, but that little bit of interference by who was it, Florio? Was it Jimmy? Was it Jimmy Uso that interfered?
Yeah, Jimmy Uso
Yeah,
got involved.
yeah.
Jimmy
And he
Uso got involved quite a bit, and
he got involved quite a bit, Florio. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I would give it 3.25, but because of the Jimmy Uso interference, I can only give it 3. It was still a good match, and it definitely gives Riddle and of course his partner Randy Orton some momentum going into that title unification match this Friday night on SmackDown. So yeah, so good match here. 3 stars. Like I said, I would give it 3.25, but the Jimmy Uso interference pretty much took something away from it. So Florio, it is yours.
And good officiating by our boy Bullock, Rockin' Rod Zapata. I mean, he definitely was the difference in that one. You remember Usos were going for the win with the same way that they stole the SmackDown tag titles from the Mysterios last summer at Money in the Bank. But what happened here? Rockin' Rod caught him, and he threw out Jimmy Uso, and that opened the door for Riddle to get the win. So I agree, 3 stars. Both of these guys are great athletes who are known for being physical performers. So this match had some good action in between the moments. of interference and distraction. The finish might not have been very creative, but the majority of the bout was fun and showed off why both of these guys are featured so prominently. So that's really all there is to say there. So I agree. It's technically a 3.25 star match, but we're gonna bump it down to 3 because of that Jimmy Uso ference, even though it did not affect the outcome. Thankfully. Then from there, we had the newly formed tag team of the phenomenal AJ Styles and Finn Balor, 2 charter members of the Bullet Club. And what's this? Liv Morgan in their corner. Winners of the match, 8.5 minutes. AJ Styles, Finn Balor. It was a combination. AJ Styles, phenomenal forearm. And then Finn Balor with the coup de grace, or as Luigi PS3 funnily once called it, the coup de grace. Styles and Balor win the match, 8.5 minutes. And after the match, something pretty cool. You all know the history of AJ Styles and Finn Balor, 2 of the original charter members of one of the most legendary stables in professional wrestling history, especially in New Japan, the Bullet Club. And they did the 2 Sweet, and Liv Morgan joined them at the end. That was pretty damn cool, if I got to be honest with you. I will give this another 3 stars. I mean, this was a great showcase of solid tag team wrestling. The heels utilized classic strategies to keep Styles grounded and isolated from his partner, and the babyfaces made good use of the hot tag. Balor with the win with the coup de grace. And since Judgment Day never showed up, Liv's presence was somewhat unnecessary in the end, but at the end of the day, that was you obviously definitely wanted to present them as a united front. And there's no question in our minds that it's going to lead to a 6-person mixed tag, very likely at Hell in a Cell, with Judgment Day, Edge, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley versus AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and Liv Morgan. And that's got sleeper fight potential right there. It really does. So we'll give this about 3 stars in the ring. I'll give it about 3 stars for this. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, Styles, and Balor win. Too sweet me.
Yeah, I'm definitely too sweet on this one, especially after the way Liv Morgan did it. So yeah, 3 stars for me. I mean, a good first match with the 2 pairings. So, and yeah, this will definitely lead to a 6-person mixed tag. Maybe at Hell in a Cell with the Judgment Day, Edge, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley against Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and Liv Morgan. And all I can say is, Florio, is I give it to you. Good thing we don't listen to people like Edge with the way he's a leader, and knowing him, he would teach us how to accept losing when it comes to our favorite teams, which we so respectfully disagree with him on that. So, to you, Edge, and I know if you're listening to this, you would probably become all psychotic. Get the you-know-what out with that nonsense. So, screw you, Edge.
Yeah, and Edge, special message from myself and Bullock. Have you seen Bullock's Celtics over the last couple of weeks? Have you seen my New York Yankees over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, what happened to your Toronto Raptors? Oh yeah, they got they didn't even make the playoffs, did they?
They did. They lost to Philadelphia.
Yeah, they lost. They lost in the first round, and look at where the Celtics are. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals. Jackass.
And what about your Maple Leafs? Another choke job.
Yeah, and just like your Toronto Maple Leafs, your group, the Judgment Day, is just gonna be like your Toronto Maple Leafs, a choke job.
And let's not forget about the New York Rangers either.
Yeah,
after that epic win last night.
and I just lost all respect for Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, once upon a time, she was one of your favorites, if not your favorite in NXT. But
Yeah, she had to join that fountain of misinformation, and his crony.
yep. But anywho, another thing Monday Night Raw is known for, of course, repetitiveness. And return match from last week, Alexa Bliss versus Sonya Deville. Alexa Bliss wins the match in an even 4 minutes. We all know this was only done to give Sonya a little more offense, but after a back and forth struggle, Bliss hit her signature DDT for the win. Match was a little on the short side, but both women made everything they did look decent, save for one small misstep that created an awkward pause. And you notice Alexa Bliss had new music. And yeah, all you need to know is sit down, shut up. Oh yeah, good. That's a fun little entrance theme there. That's gonna get stuck in people's heads very easily. It's already stuck in mine. So, but anywho, 2 stars for the effort. So not much more to say. Sonya's downfall continues, and it could end up being a lot worse because after the match, Sonya did something that really pissed off myself and Michael Bullock. She slapped our favorite referee.
She's like our boy.
She slapped our favorite referee. Who is that?
Mr. Dylan Fibio. And all I can say to you, Sonya Deville, you ain't gonna see it. You're not gonna get any pompadours from Mr. Danilo and Fabio after what you just did. You psychotic bitch.
Yep. That might cost you that might cost her a pretty penny or two.
Yeah, you could argue with the referee, but you don't lay a hand on the referee.
How many years have they been preaching that? Too many. So with that being said, let's get into the big segment here. Cody Rhodes. He issued the challenge. And Seth Rollins has accepted. Michael Bullock, Hell in a Cell, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, 3 inside Hell in a Cell in Chicago. Oh, IWC, capital of the world. Get ready.
Yeah, you're in for a major treat, Chicago. You're getting these 2 one more time, but this time inside Hell in a Cell. I mean, if you thought the first 2 matches between these 2 have been pretty good, that's going to be nothing compared to when these 2 step inside Hell in a Cell. I mean, this was a good segment here. I mean, the back and forth, obviously, with the 2. And yeah, I mean, all I can say is I cannot wait for this Hell in a Cell match. So, Florio, it is yours.
Segment of the night. No doubt. I mean, solid verbal exchange to get to the Hell in a Cell match. Good strategy to announce things for the top of the 3rd hour, which usually delivers the lowest ratings of Raw's 3 hours. And it could turn out to be damaging if they only do it for Cody Rhodes, as some fans could end up resenting him if they feel he's getting special treatment. But anywho, then we had Ezekiel versus Chad Gable. Ezekiel wins the match in an even 11 minutes. Surprise match here. Gable and Ezekiel had a decent match, but the camera was cutting to Owens a little too much. It made the action slightly less impactful. Had they focused more on the actual wrestling, this would have been more enjoyable. Zeke was able to get the win when he reversed the pinning combination. Last minute of the match had a couple of hiccups, but most of what we saw here was pretty good. And I'm going to give this a good 3.25 star fight or so, and maybe by default call it the fight of the night, maybe. So, or you can make an argument for it. So, not much more to say. Bullock, Ezekiel gets the win. Him and Chad Gable, hey, sleeper fight of the night, no doubt, no question about it.
Yeah, this was the sleeper fight of the night here. I really wasn't expecting much out of this match, but this turned out to be something good here. So I'll give it about 3.25 stars as well. I mean, yeah, obviously this whole feud is going to continue with with uh, Alpha Academy, Kevin Owens, and Ezekiel. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So Wario, it is yours.
Yeah. Yeah, then we had some 24/7 silliness, of course. And then Lacey Evans comes out and she cuts a promo. Bullet, did you have a quick thought on that or anything?
No.
Okay. So just wanted to be sure on that. So with that being said, well, we'll see. So all right. Okay, now we got to get into this though. A lot of controversy here when it comes to this. All right. Originally, the main event of this show tonight was scheduled to be a six-woman gauntlet match. Sasha Banks, Naomi, Becky Lynch, Asuka, Doudrop, and Nikki ASH. With the winner to challenge Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship at Hell in a Cell. However, that match was changed and it ended up going from a 6-woman gauntlet match to a one-on-one match between Becky Lynch and Asuka. The winner of the match, 9 minutes and 55 seconds. And moving on to face Bianca Belair inside, or I should say at Hell in a Cell for the Raw Women's Championship. The Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka, wins the match. Fresh matchup. First ever meeting that we know of between Bianca Belair and Asuka. So, but Michael Bullock, oh my goodness, you jumped right on this. You dropped it in our messenger chat, on our messenger group chat here. A lot of controversy here, especially Sasha Banks and Naomi. But for Sasha Banks, no big surprise. This is not the first time she's pulled nonsense like this. I mean, 3 years ago, it was her and Bayley after the whole WrestleMania fiasco with the women's tag team titles. But there's a lot more to this story than meets the eye. And you asked me for some time to get into this, so floor is all yours.
Yeah, this I don't know what to say, Florio, except with this drama here, this just makes WWE look so bad. It really does. I mean, this is the second time they've had to deal with this with Sasha Banks. I mean, and I did hear that and I don't know if you saw in the chat there, Florio, that according to the statement, it was excuse me. Well, let me read the statement. Let me read the statement from what WWE made. Let me first find it here. So give me just a minute here. Yeah. So this is what they said. When Sasha Banks and Naomi arrived at the arena this afternoon, they were informed of their participation in the main event of tonight's Raw. During the broadcast, they walked into WWE Head of Talent Relations John Laurinaitis' office with their suitcases in hand, placed their tag team championship belts on his desk, and walked out. They claimed they weren't respected enough as tag team champions, and even though they had 8 hours to rehearse and construct their match, they claimed they were uncomfortable in the ring with two of their opponents, even though they had matches with those individuals in the past with no consequence. Monday Night Raw is a scripted live TV show whose characters are expected to perform the requirements of their contract. We regret we were unable to deliver as advertised tonight's main event. So, I really don't know. I mean, there's got to be more to this story, Florio, when it comes to this, but as of right now, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I think this could potentially lead to Sasha Banks walking out of WWE and maybe pulling something like what CM Punk did back in 2014. I mean, we all know what happened at that time. So, I mean, WWE could have done a better job of handling this whole situation, but no. Vinnie Mac and his Bucktooth Beaver buddies basically mucked it up again, and this is going to make them look so bad in front of the IWC. So, yeah. To you, WWE, shame on you for what you're doing here. So, as far as the main event goes, I'm going to give this about maybe 2.5 to 3 for the effort here. So, yeah, a fresh feud with Asuka and Bianca Belair facing off at Hell in a Cell. So I'm definitely up for it. But so there's really nothing more for me to say. Florio, I mean, the match was good, but in the end, everybody's going to be talking about the controversy, which to me, I blame it more on WWE. What says you?
100% agree. I mean, it's a damn shame that it came down to this. I wish MF was here because I would have loved to have gotten his thoughts on this. I'm sure he would have gone Cerebral Viper mode on this, but it sucks, man. I mean, Sasha hasn't had over the last few years. She didn't really have any issues. I mean, I thought she had learned her lesson from WrestleMania 35 and the controversy with her and Bayley, but well, I guess not. You remember back in the baseball days, Manny Ramirez, Manny being Manny. Well, it's Sasha being Sasha, unfortunately. And I feel bad for Naomi because Naomi ended up getting dragged into this. And, what's going to happen now to the women's tag team titles? I mean, if they just left them on Laurinaitis' desk and left, and walked out, what's the fate going to hold for the women's tag team championships? Was that their way of relinquishing them? Or I don't know. There's definitely a lot more to this than meets the eye here. We're definitely going to get more in depth with this during the week. And we're hopeful we'll have more information on this when it becomes available. But it's a low down, dirty shame. And, that gauntlet match could have been something really good. I mean, I was very excited for it. And I know, Bullock, you were probably excited for it too. I mean, because gauntlet matches usually have a tendency to do some pretty good things. But hey, who's going to complain about a Becky and Asuka match? Not me. And I know Bullock's not going to either. Maybe not. It certainly was not as good as the two matches they had at those back-to-back Royal Rumbles. You remember Royal Rumble 2019 when Asuka successfully defended the SmackDown Women's Championship against Becky, and then the following year Rumble when Becky successfully defended the Raw Women's title against Asuka. So, and then of course that moment from just 2 short years ago in the Performance Center when Becky handed the Raw Women's title to Asuka. You go be a warrior, I'll go be a mother. We all remember that. So, and how damn entertaining Asuka was after she was handed the belt, and y'all know how much I love that. So I will give this 3 to 3, another 3 to 3.25 stars. These two never fail to deliver a great performance, and this match was no exception. There wasn't a single moment of downtime. They were going hard from bell to bell. Asuka won the match by blowing the green mist in Becky's face before hitting a big kick to the head for the win. Lynch tried to attack her with her umbrella, so it was justified. Other than the weird backstage news, this was a solid and strong edition of Raw, especially when compared to the rest of 2022's episodes. And here's an observation. WWE opted not to turn this into a fatal four-way instead, so Doudrop and Nikki ASH were left out in the cold. And Corey Graves on commentary acknowledging that Sasha and Naomi left the building was unexpected. WWE usually keeps the backstage drama off screen. And since we don't know the whole story, let's please keep the discourse around Sasha and Naomi respectful. And the heel throws the opponent into her rival that is sitting at ringside spot is becoming way too commonplace. But, you know, is what it is. So, so with that, I'm going to give this about 7, maybe 7.5 for this show. Other than the weird backstage news, like I said, pretty strong episode of Raw, especially when compared to the rest of 2022's episodes. I mean, we had quite a few solid to good matches tonight. Of course, the big angle with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins setting up Hell in a Cell. And Chicago's got 2 great matches to look forward to with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins inside Hell in a Cell and Bianca Belair and Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. Nice, fresh matchup. So, because Bianca and Becky had been done to death already, even though all the matches were great, it was time for a change, with all due respect. So, at least a 7, maybe a 7.5. It's definitely in that area. So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on your overall thoughts on this bizarre, with a capital B, edition of Monday Night Raw after all that Sasha and Naomi BS.
Yeah, this was definitely a bizarre edition of Monday Night Raw, but it was a good show. Not great, but I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, some of the matches were good. There are other things that could have been better, but in the end, Florio, it's going to be all about the unfortunate Sasha Banks and Naomi controversy. So that's the one that I think everybody's going to be talking about tomorrow. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's get to your Tony steak.
Yes, indeed. And for this first bit, I'm not going to do a full review. What I'm going to do is, since I didn't get to do this last week, because we had all that stuff to do last week, with the Ranger Roundup and the Celtic Chat and Bruins B or whatever we did last week, I'm going to give you the results of the Impact Wrestling Under Siege special that aired on Saturday, May 7th. And okay. It was from the, excuse me. Oh, God. The Promo West Pavilion had Ovation in Newport, Kentucky on Impact Plus. And we had 2 dark matches, or pre-show matches, rather. Heath and Rhino versus Raj Singh and Shira. Heath and Rhino in 6.5 minutes win that. Then we had Rich Swann versus the Laredo Kid and Speedball Mike Bailey in a 3-way match. Rich Swann wins that match, 7 minutes, 57 seconds. Now to the main card. Giselle Shaw versus Madison Rayne. Giselle Shaw wins it in 7 minutes and 16 seconds. Chris Sabin versus Steve Macklin. Chris Sabin wins that match, 13 minutes and 23 seconds. Return match for the AAA Reina de Reinas Championship. Deonna Purrazzo challenging Taya Valkyrie. Winner of the match in 10 minutes and 9 seconds, and still the Reina de Reinas champion, Taya Valkyrie. X Division Championship on the line. Trey Miguel challenging Ace Austin. Ace Austin successfully defends the title, 13 minutes, 4 seconds. Honor No More versus the Bullet Club in a 10-man tag. Honor No More wins the match, 18 minutes, 21 seconds. Tasha Steelz defending the Knockouts Championship against Jessica Havoc. Tasha Steelz retains the title, 10 minutes and 26 seconds. Violent by Design, Eric Young and Diener defending the Impact World Tag Team Championships against the Briscoes, Jay Briscoe and Mark Briscoe. Winners of the match in 11 minutes and 17 seconds. And new Impact World Tag Team Champions, the Briscoes. And in the main event, Josh Alexander defending the Impact World Heavyweight Championship against Tomohiro Ishii. Winner of the match in 23 minutes and 32 seconds. And still the Impact World Heavyweight Champion, the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander. No surprise there. So I didn't see the event, but I heard it was a great event, especially that main event. You got to go out of your way to see that because it was I heard it was a 4.5 teetering on a 5-star classic. So great match there. All right. Now I'm going to do the Impact Wrestling from this past week. That was on I was on Access TV as always, and it was the fallout from Under Siege. And we started it off with a tables match. W. Morrissey versus Brian Myers. For all you WWE fans out there, this is technically Big Cass versus Kurt Hawkins. But it was W. Morrissey versus Brian Myers in a tables match. Winner of the match in 10 minutes and 42 seconds. It was W. Morrissey, 3.25 stars. I expected the shenanigans, but they all made sense and went well. Seems to be the end of Morrissey dealing with Cardona and Myers, so that's good. Morrissey looked like a badass as he should, and Jordan Grace assisting was nice. Gimmick match, so they would have had to really mess some stuff up or have horrible booking for it to get a negative rating, but it was a solid way to open up Impact Wrestling. X Division Championship on the line. Ace Austin defending against Rocky Romero. Winner of the match in 11 minutes and 39 seconds, and still the X Division champion, Ace Austin. 3.5 stars. Great X Division title match, as would be expected between these two. Rocky's always great, and Ace can go. Great showcase for him ahead of the Best of the Super Junior. If Ace didn't just become X Division champion, I would have bought into Rocky winning. And even at points, it did feel like it could go that way. But Ace got the win. Fun match. So, actually, I do apologize. I'm going off the wrong date. That was the previous week's show. I got to get to the other one. All right. I do apologize for that. All right. Now this was the fallout from Under Siege. All right. Kenny King of Honor No More versus Chris Bay in an X Division qualifying match. Winner of the match, 8 minutes and 27 seconds. Kenny King, 3.75 stars. A lot of fun between two very good wrestlers who have an obvious history. Teacher versus student, and of course they delivered a solid bout. I like both guys, and I wasn't sure who was going to win. Bay shines in Ultimate X matches, but King makes a lot of sense. I like that they're booking qualifying matches, and as much as I'd like to see Chris Bay in, I hope they stay true to qualifying and keep him out. So, 3.75 stars. Kenny King moves on to the Ultimate X match at Slammiversary. The Impact Knockouts Tag Team titles on the line. The Influence, Tenille Dashwood, Madison Rayne, defending against Alicia Edwards and Giselle Shaw. Winners and still champions. It is The Influence. I don't have a time of the fall, but I'll give it 2.5 stars. Not a bad match, but it wasn't a great match. Kind of just fell off at moments, particularly the final stretch. It felt odd for Shaw to lose after gaining some solid momentum. I get that they want to let it play out a bit, as they only have so many female teams to challenge for the titles. I just think they could have tried something else besides rushing right to a title match. Gail Kim, Impact Hall of Famer Gail Kim, comes in, and she is the head of the Knockouts division. And at the Slammiversary pay-per-view, there's going to be, she announces that there will be the first ever Queen of the Mountain match for the Knockouts Championship. Tasha Steelz, obviously. And she'll be defending against Chelsea Green, Jordynne Grace, Deonna Purrazzo, and the returning Mia Yim. Wow. And then all hell breaks loose. Tasha and Savannah attack Gail Kim. Deonna Purrazzo comes in, and then Jordynne Grace and Taya Valkyrie come out and even the odds. Really good segment, despite there being so much going on. All these women bring a different element that's really interesting. It's cool to see them continue pushing the legacy of the Knockouts. The only complaint, I know I like them doing qualifiers for the Ultimate X, but I'd rather they would have had qualifiers for this. But to each their own, I guess. Jay White and El Phantasmo of the Bullet Club versus Impact World Heavyweight Champion Josh Alexander and Tomohiro Ishii. Winners of the match in 10 minutes and 28 seconds. Tomohiro Ishii and Josh Alexander. 3 3/4 of a star. Had a lot going on, a lot of fun. Hard for me to keep up with just because of the action. Makes sense for Ishii and Josh to win, even if it comes at the expense of White and Phantasmo. And then the main event was the Gauntlet for the Gold, where the winner becomes the #1 contender for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship at Slammiversary. Winner of the match, I don't have a total time of the fall, Eric Young. Eric Young is going to Slammiversary. He will challenge Josh Alexander for the World Heavyweight Championship. Fun main event, but which I will give 3 stars. It was your typical gauntlet match. So very surprised with the outcome here. I mean, Eric Young was the last guy I expected to win this, but he'll be a decent person for Josh to defeat, and over the next few weeks, they'll give us reason to believe he could win. He honestly could beat Josh. I just feel like it's not going to happen. Primarily, I don't want it to. Even though the wrong guy won, it was a fun main event. 7 out of 10. Solid follow-up to Under Siege. Primarily highlighted by an extended gauntlet for the gold to close out the show. It allowed for less matches throughout, and instead, just a number of long, decent to very good matches. Bit of a step back for me, though, but I'm sure others will enjoy it a lot. Not a big fan of EY getting the title shot. Takes it down just a notch for me. But regardless of personal preference, it's undeniable Impact continues its streak of good shows. It's a 7 out of 10 for me. There's no doubt about it. And I'm going to quickly see if there's anything on the pipeline for. Yes, there is. Excuse me. Come on. The Briscoes will defend the World Tag Team titles against Joe Doring and Diener of Violent by Design. Return match there. Laredo Kid versus Speedball Mike Bailey in an Ultimate X Division Championship qualifier. Tasha Steelz, Savannah Evans, and Deonna Purrazzo versus Taya Valkyrie, Mia Yim, and Jordynne Grace in a 6 knockouts tag. And Mike Bennett and Matt Taven of Honor No More against the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. So that'll be your Impact lineup on Thursday. Let's quickly get into NXT Level Up, and then we'll call it a night here. Sanga versus Dante Chen. Sanga wins in 5 minutes and 6 seconds. It was okay as Sanga hit some token giant offense, got the win, 1 star. Thea Hale versus Electro Lopez. Electro Lopez, 5 minutes, 5 seconds. It was the same structure and story as the first bout. Monster heel controls for a bit, then gets hit with a flurry before finishing with a power move 1 star. Trick Williams versus Javier Bernal. Trick Williams, 6 minutes, 15 seconds, 2 stars. I'm surprised it was clean as there was no interference at all from Carmelo Hayes. It's the way it should have gone. I wasn't sure if they were going to do it. Okay, main event, 2 stars. 5 out of 10. The opening, there was no drama about who was winning any of these matches tonight. Not really a bad thing, as sometimes the obvious winner needs to get the win. It's not a show for people looking for high star ratings, and that's fine, as we know the purpose of the show. Compared to other shows, it's not good, but on its own, it was a weaker show. 5 out of 10. So with that being said, that will put the ball on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you on Wednesday night for Wednesday night. Excuse me, for Wednesday Night Madness. Right back here on the Zone 25. I'm going to be hosting all week. Good old MF Michael Fletcher will not be joining us due to work commitments beyond his control. So I will be filling in. So I will be hosting Wednesday Night Madness, as we will have NXT 2.0 and AEW Dynamite. And then from there, we'll also have the Celtics chat and the Rangers roundup. Thursday, we got TXN Sports World, as we will preview the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs and the conference finals in the NBA playoffs. And another edition of the Celtics chat Friday, Cerebral Smack Talk, AEW Rampage, Friday Night SmackDown, Ranger Roundup, and then we'll take it from there. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness, this is Anthony Floyer here on behalf of all of us here at Talking Wrestling TXN and TXN Sports World. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, the Phenom Michael Bullock, and the First Lady Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up looking for style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and streaming.com. And no matter what anyone tells you, my friends, no matter what, wrestling is beyond anything else. Wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.